I'm the Central Region Coordinator with the Clean Energy Resource Teams, and with me is my colleague Alexis Troshenetz. And we are going to try to get a little bit of a sense of the uses that you're planning to put this webinar to. So if we're going to launch a poll at this point. And so why are you participating today? Is this for personal use, for professional use, for both? And looks like we've got quite a few for personal use, for both personal and professional use. Awesome. So, okay, now the slides don't like me. So let's try this again. There we go. Our webinar producer today is Rick Meyer out of the Brainerd office. And so if you have any technical issues or want to get assistance with something, feel free to get in touch with Rick. And this webinar is part of a series of webinars called No Place Like Home. You can see on your screen, there are a number of really great upcoming webinars, so be sure to go ahead and register for those at the link that's up on the slide there and attend those. So today we're going to talk a little bit, just a tiny bit about who CERTS is, and so how we can be of assistance to you. Then we're going to dive into making your home more comfortable, more efficient as we enter the summer and the hotter months of the year. Take a deeper dive into a really cool technology. It's kind of cool, it's kind of hot. It's air source heat pumps. So we'll take a dive into that. And then we'll talk about tackling energy burden in your community. And so CERTS, the Clean Energy Resource Teams, has a mission to connect people to the resources they need to do community-based clean energy projects. So when we say community-based, what we're really talking about is community-determined clean energy projects. And when we talk about clean energy, we're talking about energy efficiency, renewable energy, or electric vehicles. And CERTS is a statewide partnership that includes the partners you see at the bottom of this slide. The CERTS statewide office is based at the University of Minnesota Extension Regional Sustainable Development Partnerships on the St. Paul campus of the U. And CERTS serves as RSDP's energy program. So we're very closely connected with and part of the University of Minnesota Extension. And we're a little more complicated than that because we also have these other partners that are key to CERTS's work as well. And so what exactly do we do? The first thing that we do is really provide learning opportunities. So events like today's workshop or some of the clean energy stories that we put out in our newsletter, on our blog, on our website, resources to help you learn about clean energy. We also provide what we call practical steps to clean energy. So how do you get from point A to point B on your clean energy project, sort of step by step? And a lot of these resources can be found on our website, cleanenergyresourceteams.org. And then finally, we also provide hands-on assistance. So if you are part of an organization or you have a business and you're looking to delve into clean energy as part of your organization, we can also provide hands-on assistance to help you get from point A to point B on those projects. So at this point, we want to talk about your home, my home, all our homes. What are the first steps that we can take to make our homes more comfortable and efficient? And so the first step in doing that is to really get to know your home's energy use. You can see there's kind of a breakdown of how Minnesota homes use energy in this diagram here. So heating and air conditioning, definitely the biggest chunk of our energy use in Minnesota. Not a big surprise. Winters are cold, summers are hot, and there's a lot of heating and air conditioning to be done. Water heating is kind of the next biggest one, along with appliances, and then lighting and electronics. So we're actually going to start with some of the simpler things to start with, which are things like lighting and some simple behavior changes. And then we're going to delve into some of the bigger stuff, the cooling and the heating of the home. So step one is to find out, okay, how much energy am I using? You want to really get to know your utility bill. And we have some great resources on our website that delve into what we've called the scary stuff right here, which is, the breakdown of the different charges on your bill. And we'd encourage you to take a look at that on our website. It's in the Home Energy Guide series. And then we also want to take a look at that lovely little graph that we have there, the monthly usage data, and say, okay, what's causing the peaks that we're seeing in our energy bill? This one happens to be mine, so I know what caused those peaks. And the first one is that the furnace went out and we heated with space heaters, not an efficient way to heat. Air conditioning, summer's here. It's actually beautiful weather now, but it's going to get hot. We know it's going to get hot. Air conditioning can make up a big chunk of your electricity use. Non-LED lighting can make up a big chunk of your electricity use. So that was those peaks right in the middle there. Those were because we were saying, oh, it's not a big deal if we don't replace our holiday lights with LEDs. Lighting is a big deal. And then there was an electric vehicle added, and so we replaced some of our gas with electricity. So getting to know your home energy bill, really a super huge thing. So at this point, we want some more audience participation because we love that kind of thing. So in the chat, why should you use LED bulbs? A, they're energy efficient. B, they contain no mercury. Or C, they last a long time. So go ahead and throw your answer to the trivia question in the chat. Anyone? Anyone? C, last a long time. A and C. A. B is not getting a lot of love. We have an all for Rick Meyer. Awesome. So in fact, it is all three. They are energy efficient. They do not contain mercury and they do last a long time. So LED bulbs are your friends. And a lot of times we go into the big box store and we want, or the hardware store, and we want to buy a light bulb and we're like, wow, there's an entire wall of light bulbs, and it can be a little overwhelming. That's why we have the Right Light Guide and the Right Light app. So these will tell you how you can figure out which of those 80 million different bulbs do I actually want for the use that I'm putting it to. So Rick has put that the link to the app in the chat, and feel free to check it out. It's super fun, super easy. Everybody likes picking out light bulbs. Next up, which label helps you identify energy efficient products? A, Energy Saver. B, EPA approved. Or C, Energy Star. Again, go ahead and throw that in the chat. I am seeing C, some A, some C's. All right. It is in fact Energy Star. Energy Star is a label for products that have been tested to ensure that they are the more energy efficient options for a particular appliance or other, energy using thing. If you really want to know what your appliance is using or something that you are using electricity for, you can use something that's called the kilowatt meter, and it's super easy to use. You plug it into the wall, you plug in whatever you want to test, and it will tell you how much electricity it is drawing over time. So when it comes to appliances, refrigerators especially are a really big deal. An old one might use 1,700 kilowatts a year. A new one might use 450. So huge difference in that. So when you're looking for a new appliance, make sure to look for the Energy Star appliances. And a lot of times those will also qualify for utility rebates. So water heating, if you remember that water heating segment on the little house at the beginning, it was 15% of a house's energy use. You can reduce that in a bunch of different ways. One is by installing WaterSense faucet aerators and water efficient shower heads. Another, and this one is really important for safety as well. This is to set your water heater to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. If you've got it up around 160 or something, you're going to have some burned fingers at some point. So be sure to set your water heater temperature to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Use cold water for washing clothes. Most of the time it does great. If you've got something really weird and, that really needs some hot water, that's one thing. But as a general rule, you want to use cold water for washing clothes. It's also easier on the clothes. And everybody knows, take shorter showers. So remember to check for utility programs when you're replacing things. So they may provide rebates. They may actually provide free energy efficient items. And you want to check, they may provide payment plans or averaged monthly bill programs or additional efficiency programs. So check to see what your utility offers. Most of them offer something. And at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Alexis.
Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, we're going to go next into another layer deeper here on making your home comfortable and efficient in terms of cooling and heating. And we are focusing on cooling today, but we can't help talking about heating in some ways because we're in Minnesota. So normally we jump to thinking about insulating our homes for saving on our heating bills, but insulation works both ways to slow down any heat transfer, whether that's hot air from outside coming in, preserving the cool air that your air conditioner has worked so hard to make happen inside your home, So that's why we're still going to talk about insulation and something we call air sealing. And this is where we're adding what they call R value or thermal resistance to the house. And with that R value, it's a number, a rating for different types of insulation. The higher the number, the more insulation property it has, the greater it'll slow down heat transfer. And there's all sorts of forms of insulation. You can have it in those blankets with that fiberglass, fluffy looking material. Blown in is fluffy as well, but in a loose form, and it kind of packs into place. And some of the insulation actually, like this spray foam pictured on the right, not only adds that thermal value, but it creates air sealing. It prevents the air from passing through too. and I'll get to that in just a minute. But where do we put insulation? The most important spot is in the attic. It's great to have it in your walls as well, around the basement foundation, but you don't want fiberglass down there. It's going to hold moisture more so in that basement crawl space setting. And energy.gov is a great place to go to learn all the details about insulation. And this thing called air sealing that we talk about, it sounds strange, but it's basically this graphic on the right shows all the common places where air can leak into our homes. It's numerous. I mean, as a home ages and settles, little cracks and openings form here and there. And it has been averaged out that if you were to pull all those holes together, it might be the size of a basketball opening in your wall. So can you imagine just like ignoring a basketball size hole in your wall for letting air come in in the winter, or letting your nice cool air conditioned air out in the summer? So it's really good idea to fill those in. Some of that can be done in a do-it-yourself way with your caulk or spray foam. And then sometimes in the really tricky spots, like up in the attic or dealing with kind of a chimney or something, you might want to hire a professional, contractor for that. Anytime we're heating and cooling our home, controlling that energy use is important. And we do that with thermostats. And there's all types of options out there now for thermostats. We've got the manual on the far left, just kind of, if you still have a manual thermostat, you can tend to it if you would like to. You can, set it back when you go away. Certainly set it back, change it when you're going on vacation, like for a little while. So especially with the summer coming up, and if you have central air conditioning, be sure to set it a little higher. So we're always thinking about setting back in the winter. We're so winter focused here in Minnesota, right? But we're going into cooling season. We got to think differently. And when you are away on vacation, let's say you normally cool your house to 76 degrees. When you go on vacation, bump that up to 80 or 81 even, maybe even as high as 83 if your house plants can handle it. But, that's something you can do. And then programmable thermostats can just do that for you. You can set up the programming, or there can be like what they call a vacation hold that you can set. And then smart is another type of thermostat option that's accessible with Wi-Fi. A lot of programmable ones are accessible with Wi-Fi, but the smart ones are sometimes learning your schedule with occupancy sensors, or they can be tied to your mobile phone and it knows when you're near or far to adjust the settings. And anytime that we are, this topic first, sorry. So for cooling your home, of course, there's air conditioning. And as I just mentioned on the last slide, some homes have central air conditioning. And that is where it is kind of piped into your whole, system with the ductwork. And others use room air conditioners, like it's pictured on the right here. And this kind of falls more into the appliance category in terms of energy equipment. And so you're looking for that Energy Star label again, which ensures not only energy efficiency, but performance and durability too. So they're definitely checking that this is good equipment. So when you're buying that, you're ensuring good quality equipment. And with ACs, we often think about our furnace filter in the winter time. Air conditioning has some similar maintenance we want to be thinking about with that. You want to be changing out any filters, like on these room air conditioning units, that front part usually pops off, and a bunch of lint, hair, all sorts of stuff can get built up on there. On the outdoor unit for the room air conditioner and for a central air conditioner, there's these fins, thin pieces of metal all along the unit. And man, pollen will get sucked up against that and really reduce its cooling ability. So all you have to do is grab that garden hose and use it vertically and spray off from the fins any outdoor debris that's building up on those fins. And I would suggest, before it gets, too hot, go out and do that to the outdoor air conditioner unit part now before cooling season gets going. Much like that R value with insulation, this unit comes with a rating. It's either EER or sometimes it's SEER, SEER, and higher is better there as well. You're going to start seeing units for a central home starting at about 13, but you can go into the 20s with that. Those are the kind of numbers you'd be seeing for SEER or EAR. And we are going to get into air source heat pumps as a cooling option, as Melissa mentioned during the agenda slide. The biggest thing with anytime we're heating or cooling our home with additional inputs like your furnace or your air conditioner, and you're really adding all that extra energy to heat and cool the home, you want to make sure you're only heating the space you want. So close all the windows and doors anytime you're running the furnace or air conditioner. And we are in a beautiful time of year right now in Minnesota. Fall is also an excellent time to go ahead and live in between the heating setting and the cooling settings for your home, and get to just use fans and open windows and use some of that free cooling at night. So window fans, if you want to do that for cooling at night, let's say, or anytime on like a cool day, you can point the fan to blow in to bring in that cool air from outside and have some other windows open for it to leave the home too. Indoor fans, like the one you can see above me right now in this office, those are great at cooling people, not rooms. It works on a wind chill effect, so when the air is blowing on your skin, it feels cooler. But if no one is in the room, it's kind of like that saying, if a tree falls in the forest, no one can hear it. If a fan is running in a room, it's not providing any cooling benefit without anybody around to feel it. So now we'll take a little look at air source heat pumps and what those can do for cooling. Heat pumps. So this is a newer technology coming on the scene for Minnesota because of our cold climate. They have been around for decades for cooling and some heating in like the shoulder seasons. But now in Minnesota, the technology is getting so much better, we're able to use it more and more of the winter. So that's why suddenly we're hearing about heat pumps a lot more in Minnesota. And up to this point, you've maybe heard of them already, and they go by a lot of different names. Some people are calling them heat pumps. Some people are calling them mini split generally, or ductless. And mini split and ductless might be terms you've heard a lot when people are adding it as cooling for their homes. So it's kind of this, term, heat pumps. Just real quick, did you know heat pumps can provide cooling? I know it says the word heat in the name, but they can provide cooling. Mini splits, though we always think of them about, as a air conditioner, they can provide heating too. So these are all the different names you might encounter when you hear about heat pumps. And heat pumps are all around us. They're in our cars for creating heating and cooling there. They are in our refrigerators, dehumidifiers, like we saw already, the window air conditioning unit. Heat pumps are around, and they use compressors mostly to do the magic that they do. And the benefits of heat pumps for cooling and heating, you get a really, steady comfort, not a lot of, big changes in that temperature. You're going to see lower energy bills and great dehumidification. A lot of the CERTS tells a lot of stories of Minnesotans taking clean energy action, and we have a couple stories on our website about people adopting heat pumps. And in both of them, people are excited about the dehumidification it's offering and the quiet operation. They love how quiet these units are. They're obviously very efficient. That's why we're talking about them today. And there are really great utility rebates available for heat pumps. So it can really lower the upfront cost that we've been seeing for new technologies like this. And they're very flexible. I'll get into this a little later, but they work great for homes with and without ductwork. And they're a great option to add cooling or upgrade your air conditioning. So how it works is it is an air conditioning unit, just like we're used to seeing and experiencing. And it can provide heat because it just simply operates in reverse. And so it's efficiently able to heat and cool our homes with electricity only. And it's able to do this because it's moving heat around versus making heat. So, with air conditioning in general, all it is doing is moving the heat from inside your house to outside your house. So it continues to do that. And it takes, in terms of heating, it takes far less energy to move heat than to create heat. And I'm going to spend just a minute on the next slide talking about heating, even though we're going into summer, but it is able to do both. But this last bullet is getting at this, that it's able to provide up to 3 times more, heat energy to a home than the electricity it uses. And I like to talk about this in terms of a vending machine. Imagine that you only had $1 and you put it into the vending machine and you got $3 worth of items out of that vending machine. That's kind of the efficiency we are talking about with these kinds of units. And so they do operate very efficiently for cooling. But as a sidebar for today, I got to spend just a couple minutes on heating some more and say how in Minnesota, we've got 2,000 of our furnaces are kind of running for about 2,000 hours a year in Minnesota to heat our homes versus maybe only 300 hours for cooling needs. And so that's why the choices we make for heating are so important in Minnesota. And these heat pumps for heating in homes with electric resistance or propane make economic sense too. So the chart on the right is showing the kinds of cost savings on your bills, your heating bills you would see by switching from electric resistance baseboard heat to a cold climate air source heat pump. You'd be seeing about 55% savings on bills. That's huge. And if you're heating with direct air propane furnace, you're looking at 30% savings when you're heating with propane. And these heat pumps, they do operate down to 5 degrees Fahrenheit efficiently. That's when you make sure you tell the contractor you're interested in the cold climate version, the kind that can go that cold if you want to be using it for heating. There are versions that exist for maybe only heating really efficiently down to 30 degrees. And those are a great option too right now in Minnesota. If you're only updating your air conditioner, you need something a bit more affordable for the upfront cost, and you're still able to use that for a lot of heating needs in the spring and fall, and it's still more economically efficient. So, know that there are options out there for using air source heat pumps for cooling your home and for a little bit of heating your home too. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this air source heat pump section, there's options here. You can use the ductless or mini split that have equipment that look kind of like what's shown. And then it's also, you're able to apply this heat pump technology if you have ductwork as well. And so when you don't have ductwork, again, this is kind of what it looks like in real life. On the right, the outdoor unit, that's called the condenser, and then this indoor unit. And the indoor units you put them into higher use areas of the home, and it offers a chance to do zoned heating and cooling. So you can, just cool the one room you really, the living room on that 95-degree day and don't spend as much energy heating the whole house, or cooling the whole house. So that's the nice part about ductless systems. It's a great fit when you have radiators or in-floor heat or electric baseboard heat. And if you're adding cooling or getting rid of the window AC units, these ductless or mini split heat pumps are a great option. And then we've got the central or ducted heat pump system. So this unit, this is kind of how it looks on the right, looks a lot like what we think of as an air conditioner for central AC. It's going to pipe the cooler hot into your furnace's fan system to distribute that in your home through your ductwork. And again, just like I'm saying, this is a great fit when your existing heat is forced air furnace, and a great, idea for replacing a central AC unit that's tuckering out or adding AC for the first time. So last, closing up soon here on this heat pump section is the next step. So we did talk about tightening up and insulating your home, and that was on purpose because if you are going to use heat pumps for heating your home at all, they offer great cooling, but you'd want to, take a look at the home, get a home energy audit possibly, and work on some of that insulation. But if you're adding it just for cooling, and it's still a great option, maybe you don't have to go, overboard on the insulating and air sealing, but it's always recommended. Check for your utility rebates, of course, because you're going to get some money in your pocket, back in your pocket from that. And then work with 2 to 3 skilled contractors to get bids. And again, if you want that heating benefit, make sure you're talking cold climate to them. And then where to get a contractor for heat pumps in Minnesota. CERTS is pointing people to this Minnesota specific resource called the Preferred Contractor Network. They're all getting, once they're on that list, that means they've gotten Minnesota specific training and they've had one of their installations inspected for quality. So it's a very solid list. If you don't see someone in your area on that list, feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to help you think of your next step of which contractor to contact. And we also have questions to ask contractors to help you get started with the right conversations with your contractors. And we have resources. I think Rick dropped the link into the chat about our heat pump resources. We've got this guide that kind of lays it all out for you, a lot of what I've just said, and a full website version of this as well. I'll pass it back to Melissa.
All right, thanks so much, Alexis. So I just wanted to add a little bit to the air source heat pump discussion. I actually have a mini split in my home and have had it for about a little over a year now and works great, love it. So if you need a homeowner perspective, there you go. That's what that was. So
Melissa, there's a question in the chat that kind of goes with what Alexis was asking or talking about, and it's whether you know of third party that would provide an energy audit.
Yeah, thanks for that question. And I see you put Conexus down, which actually, so CERTS works with utility programs across the state, and I have been in conversation with Conexus recently because they are currently trying to implement a home energy audit program for their cooperative members. So I would say in the next couple months, you are likely going to see an option available from them. And I think they're going to use the Home Energy Squad. And that's something to know too. If you are served by Xcel Energy or CenterPoint Energy, either or, you have access to the Home Energy Squad. So that gets quite a few people across the state available for, you do still have to pay for those unless you're income eligible. When certain income levels, those households get to have that Home Energy Squad for free. But great point, Camille, to check with your utility program first to see if they've got a home energy program available to you. Without that, I do have a couple other names. There's not a great, directory at the moment to point people to, but I have a few other names that I'm happy to share with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to reach out to us directly to Alexis or to your regional coordinator, and we can help with that. So speaking of kind of like, how CERTS is, working with homeowners, I actually want to talk a little bit about some of the work we're doing around energy burden and how you can be involved in that. So first of all, energy burden is the percentage of household income that's spent on home energy bills. And so on average, it's around 3.5% across the country. So 3.5% of a household's income on average is spent on home energy bills. However, there's a wide range of how much households have to spend on their energy. And so for some Minnesotan households, it could be 20 or 30% or even more of their income gets spent on energy. And that can be a really big burden. So that's why it's called energy burden. So if you take a look at the map that I just put up, you can see the darker colors are the areas that tend to have the much higher energy burden. Whereas the lighter blues and greens are the lower energy burden. So it does vary significantly across the state in terms of kind of what that energy burden looks like. And that's due to a wide range of factors, including utility rates and the costs that utilities have to provide service, as well as whether or not you're served by natural gas versus propane versus electric heat. And then on an individual household level, how efficient is the home that you're living in? And what are the habits of folks? Are you turning lights off? Are you setting that thermostat back in the winter or turning it up, in the summer so that you're spending less on heating and cooling, things like that. So CERTS is working on what we're calling the Under 5% campaign. And this is really a campaign to try to get every Minnesota household's energy burden to under 5% of their income. And this is a big lift, but it's really important. So there are really three kind of ways that people can get involved in this. One is just in your home. Do you need help to address your energy burden, whether that's through efficiency or help with energy bills? Do you want to take action in your home or your community? Or do you want to work, are you with an organization and you want to learn about strategies for ending energy burden more broadly? And so kind of looking at that first one, we have another audience participation opportunity here. What does EAP stand for? Is it A, the Energy Assistance Program, B, the Electricity Assessment Program, or C, the Efficient Appliance Policy? Yes, I am seeing tons of A's in the chat. And in fact, it is the Energy Assistance Program. This is a statewide, or it's a national program that's administered through the Department of Commerce usually by community action partnership agencies around the state. And so this is assistance in paying energy bills. It's for income qualified households. That includes renters. If you are a renter and you pay your energy bill, you have the opportunity to apply for energy assistance. Another program that's related but slightly different is the Weatherization Assistance Program. And this is actually a program that reduces energy bills by making homes more efficient. Again, It is for income qualified households, including renters. So if that's something that you're interested in, often when you apply for energy assistance, you can have the option to be put on a list to get weatherization. So the Minnesota Commerce Department has a page that shows who all the providers are. And that's that tiny little link at the bottom there. Kind of long, but we'll include it in the follow-up email as well. So we also have some resources at CERTS to help you understand a variety of things related to energy. So we have guides for single family homes, for manufactured homes, or what people sometimes call mobile homes, energy for renters, which includes things like what's your responsibility versus your landlord's responsibility. And then we also have something for landlords. So if you have buildings that you are renting out, you can learn more about energy in that context as well. If you're with an organization and you want to customize these guides with your organization's logo, you can totally do that. And we also have these in translation because not everybody is as comfortable in English. So we have them in various languages listed at the bottom there. So, so if these are at that link that's up above them, and we'll include that in the follow-up email as well. There's a ton of resources on that site, including fun manufactured home energy videos. So if you live in a manufactured home and you want to improve your energy efficiency and improve the comfort and reduce your energy bills, there are some great videos on some ways to do that. Really hands-on demonstrations of important measures that you can take. Very similarly, if you live in a single family home and you want to do some insulating, learning about indoor air quality, learning about ice dams. We're not thinking about ice dams right now because it's summer, but they're coming. So, because it's Minnesota, we have 2 seasons. Winter is coming, winter is here. We're currently in winter is coming. And so will ice dams. So there's information about that on the website too. Also, if you want to present, like we've been presenting today, to community groups, we have slide decks that you can download and use, and they are also linked to on that page on the website. So you could present on energy for single family homes or for manufactured homes or for renters. So those are available for your use as well. And finally, I think it's finally, you can partner with us on outreach. So we do a lot of work in community. I mean, that's really what we do. And in some cases, that includes direct outreach. So in the past couple of years, we've been focusing quite a lot on, for example, manufactured home parks as an opportunity to get some efficiency measures out there so that people can spend less on their energy bills. We also sometimes work with multifamily or with community groups or a whole range of partners on outreach around energy efficiency or renewable energy or electric vehicles. If this is something that you're interested in doing and partnering with us on, please feel free to reach out to Alexis. We'll have her contact information in that follow-up email as well. But we would love to partner with you on that. And so from that, we have poll number 2. From what you have learned today in today's presentation, what do you plan to do in your home or community? So hopefully that's popping up.
I I wasn't given that poll. I'm sorry.
Oh,
People can put it into the chat.
okay, sounds good. Yeah, so go ahead and throw into the chat something that you would love to do. Oh, here it is. Is it showing up for other people?
Yes, it
think
is. I
so.
think Alexis.
Yeah, I
had
was
it.
able to find it really quick.
Okay,
Perfect.
awesome. So feel free to answer the poll. And while you are answering the poll, I will continue to ramble on a little bit about if you need a certificate of participation, be sure to complete the webinar evaluation using the link on the next slide. If you are a U of M employee and you want to get well-being points for this, also complete the webinar evaluation using the link on the next slide, and which will be in the follow-up email as well. And please do the evaluation. I think I've said that a couple times now, but strongly encourage you. It helps us improve our programming. It's a short evaluation. It's not, you're not going to have to, enter like a million things. And watch for that follow-up email, a couple of follow-up emails, one right after the webinar, and then one about 30 days after the end of the series. So, questions?
I'll just, as we go into Q&A mode, we've still got the poll up, but I'm going to close it soon. But, most people are going to use LED light bulbs. That's awesome. Thank you. People are thinking about adjusting their thermostat a few degrees. So that sounds great too. And setting the water heater, making sure that's at 120. A lot of folks are interested in sharing the guides, the home energy guides. So that's great. Thanks, guys. Yeah, if there's any Q&A, we welcome them in the chat, or you can, we welcome folks to come off mute too and just ask us directly whenever you would like. There is something I forgot to mention with the heat pumps. So they do offer, like I said, they offer cooling, right? And similar to air conditioning, they're going to have a rating like SEER or EAR, and they are equally efficient if you get the same SEER or EAR rating as an air conditioner. But if you are thinking about having it do some heating for your home and a lot of heating, and you go with a cold climate air source heat pump, those typically have SEERs or EARs of 19, 20, 21. And that's a lot higher than someone would typically just choose for like a basic, SEER 13 or 14 or 15 air conditioner, and with that, so if you decide to kind of really offset a lot of that heating, you end up having a lot of savings for cooling too, because of the equipment that's going to get, installed for those goals for your home. So that's where heat pumps, when we're doing it, kind of thinking about the home as a system, the heating and the cooling, where you get some of those extra efficiencies. It's great to hear, Allison, about washing your clothes in cold water already. That's excellent. Checking on the participant list, see if anybody's off mute and want to ask questions, or in the chat. Either or is fine. We did wrap up a little earlier than we expected, but good amount of time for discussion if anybody would like.
Thanks everybody for attending. And it is great to see you all here, and watch for that follow-up email. Thanks so much, guys.